Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the brand new game mode Control, and for me, this game mode currently is the most fun that I'm having in Battlefield 2042, and it is hands down the best game mode, the best mid-season game mode that has been introduced over the 5 seasons of the game. So I just wanted to talk a little about that, give you guys some tips and tricks for actually winning the game mode as well, as it is quite different to a regular match of Conquest, for example. But before we get started, if you guys do enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future Battlefield content. We are coming up fast on 47,000 subscribers, so thank you guys ever so much for the support, and let's keep the ball rolling and, you know, see how fast we can get there. Okay, so Control, as you guys will know if you've played it, it's a 24 versus 24 game mode. It's 48 players, which I think is a really fun format for me. Personally, I'm not a big fan of 128 players in Battlefield. 64 player Conquest is always where I will go. I like the mixture of infantry and vehicular combat, and so this 24v24 game mode is just a breath of fresh air. The smaller mode size means that you can flank easier, you're getting shot by snipers less, and it just feels like you're able to successfully capitalize on different situations within the game and play to your own strengths without just dying to like random things all over the place. Now, what's really cool about this game mode though is the way that it ramps up in sections. So you begin with 4 different flags, and these flags have a limited amount of telemetry points. We're just going to call them points for the sake of this video, that you can, let's say, harvest from the flag. So you start off with the A flags, and there's 2 for your team, 2 for the enemy team. It's pretty standard, right? There's no vehicles at this point in the game except for regular transports, and you can go on some interesting flanks with a silencer, as you see me doing here in the background. That's kind of the bread and butter of what I've been doing in Control. But then once those 4 initial flags have been depleted, then you get 3 flags. So then you move on to the B objectives, and instead of 4 objectives here, there is only 3. So there's 1 for your team, 1 for the enemy team, but then there'll be 1 in the middle for you to fight over. And that, of course, is the interesting part. The heat starts to turn up a little bit, and things start to get way more chaotic. And then, of course, once you go to the C objectives, there's only 2 of them, and then finally for the D objective, you only get a single 1. So it really feels, as you progress through these different sets of objectives, it changes the dynamic of the game. You start off with 2 flags on either side, and then things start to get even more intense, of course, with the B objectives. You've got 1 flag on either side, and then that 3rd objective in the middle for you to fight over. But for me, things get really interesting once the C objectives come in, and you've only got 1 flag. And the reason is the point system that they've implemented in the game here, where you deplete your flag of the points, scoring your team points, and once those points have all gone, your objective disappears. So what this means is that you can defend your flag objective at home and go out and be sort of disrupting the enemy objective, you know, capping it from them, meaning that they have to then recap it and wasting their time. And if you manage to hold your home flag for the entirety of that duration, that means you are going to deplete your flag before they've done theirs. And of course, once you've gotten rid of your objective, then you don't have to spend any resources defending it, and you can just have your entire team go and attack their objective because it's still there. So absolutely crucial to winning this game mode is holding those first 2 objectives. You know, if you can get a 3rd one on the A objectives, that is absolutely massive, because that essentially means that on the B objectives you only need to hold 1 instead of 2, and you can let the enemy have 2 and it's not really going to be a big deal. And then, of course, with the C objectives, you're back to an even number again, 1 flag to defend and 1 to attack. And then finally, on the D objective, you just got 1 objective, right? So everybody just goes all in on that flag, and it feels a little bit more chaotic, more sort of akin to 128 player Battlefield. Now, I will admit, I think a big part of the reason that I enjoy this game mode so much is the vehicle play. I'm a massive vehicle player, as most of you guys will know, and I do enjoy playing a mixture of, you know, vehicles in Battlefield and infantry. I try my best to be as good as I can in every kind of vehicle, so whatever tool presents itself to me, I'm going to sort of do decently in that. I'm not the best jet pilot, I'm not the best heli pilot or the best infantry player, but I try to be a pretty decent sort of jack of all trades player. But where this game mode differs is the fact that you can just expect any amount of vehicles to spawn at any moment. It isn't like a regular conquest game where, you know, if you take out the enemy helicopter, you can be sure that there isn't going to be a helicopter up on the enemy team for 2 minutes. Same thing goes with the jet, same thing goes with all the vehicles. If you keep your timers sort of in the back of your mind, you know when those vehicles are going to spawn. In this game mode, you have no idea when vehicles are going to spawn, or even how many of them, right? There could be a bunch of tanks, loads of helicopters, jets in the sky, or there could be none of those things. And all of the vehicles are completely tied to how well you play as a player. So the more kills you get, the more objectives you score, the more vehicle points, or ascension points as they're called, you're going to be able to accrue, and the more vehicles you are going to be able to spawn. Now I do think this slightly, well not slightly, let's just, you know, let's not beat about the bush here, it completely favours vehicle players. You know, people like me who can spawn a helicopter after getting, I don't know, 10 or 15 kills as infantry, I spawn in a Nightbird, I just sort of run around the battlefield mopping up the enemy team because most of them don't even have enough points to spawn a vehicle of their own yet, and most of them have also spawned in as assault or support, given the fact that at the start of the game there are no vehicles, so they're not really prepared as engineers to take out those vehicles. And then, you know, playing in that Nightbird, I'm able to get so many kills that I have so many points in backup that as soon as I die in that vehicle, I can just like instantly spawn in another vehicle. So it is like a little bit cheesy in that regard. I think anybody who isn't good at the game and isn't going to be able to score a decent amount of kills, it's going to take them a long time to get those points to be able to spawn a vehicle in the first place. So, you know, those better players out there, this game mode is definitely going to work in their favor. However, it does need to be noted that this game mode is completely objective focused and not kill focused. Unlike in Conquest where, you know, you skill a kill, you drain the enemy team of 1 ticket, that does not happen in Control. The only way for your team to score points or the enemy team to score points in Control is to hold the objectives and drain those telemetry data, drain those points from the various objectives on the battlefield. So for example, being in a helicopter means you really aren't contributing to capping any flags unless you go ahead and land on the flag, which I really don't recommend doing. The only thing you can do to help is to kill enemy players and try to support your team on the ground capping those flags. So a lot of the time I think helicopter players go after where the most kills are, but actually in this game mode, you're better off going after the flag and just sort of flying around and supporting the flag that your team is trying to make a push on and trying to capture. Get in there, sort of disrupt the enemy and try to help them out that way. So this definitely is a PTFO game mode here, despite the massive abundance of vehicles. But feel free to comment down below, guys. Let me know how you've been getting on with the game mode. You know, are you maybe a more infantry-centric player? Maybe, I don't know, you don't enjoy the game mode as much as I do, but I think it has a good mixture. You know, it starts off as infantry play with the smaller game mode, and as things ramp up and there are fewer and fewer objectives, and you have more and more vehicles and more people with ascension points in order to be able to spawn those vehicles, things just get kind of crazy and kind of chaotic, and I don't know, I think it's a really cool mixture, and honestly, I would love to see DICE make this a permanent game mode, not just in Battlefield 2042, but for Battlefield games going forward. I've honestly had that much fun in this. It has completely taken me by surprise. I've just come back off of my holiday traveling around Iceland, and it's been a really welcome addition to the game to come back to here. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like below, subscribe for more Battlefield content, and I will see you in the next one.